In this episode of How It's Made, we're going to talk about this 379 Peterbilt from Riffel Farms from Akron, Indiana. This is a really cool looking little truck. Really am in love with the way this one turned out. It turned out just really sweet. So we started out with a basic 379 Peterbilt. Nothing fancy there. It did have a longer frame. I ended up cutting the frame too short and had to stretch it back out, so you can see I had some brass in there where I've stretched it out again. Then we added some half fenders. I had half fenders in my parts bin, so I had to add those. 3D printed, 3D printed tanks. And then what's noticeable about this is the paint, because this is the first time I've ever used two-stage paint, which would be the base coat bright white and then white pearl on top of it. So you can see that pearl effect on there is really pretty. And this color combination together is gorgeous. So we have two coats there of the white, and then we had some red metallic on top. Painted the roof cap the same color as the fenders, the tank, and the rear fenders, and then the air tank underneath the door was painted all to match. Put a Texas bumper on this thing. This is stainless steel from Rockin H. Tractor fab grill insert, because this matches the grill on the real truck. So did that. Paid an freelancer on Fiverr.com to do the artwork for the door and also the hood number. I printed those at home. Because the cab is white, I could print this at home and be successful there. You'll notice the roof cap is not a day cab roof cap, and that's because this truck had a sleeper on it at one time. It was taken off. And so the roof cap remains a sleeper style roof cap. So that explains why that's much taller than a normal day cab. Exhaust does not match perfectly the real truck. This is what I had on hand, and it is about as close as I could find. So the exhaust is shortened up. That's a factory Peterbilt, DCP Peterbilt exhaust cut down to the correct size. Then used the under part of the exhaust off of another truck to make it go into the pipes. Rear mud flaps taken off of another truck and reused there, repurposed. Forgot to mention this decal over here, overweight and underpaid, again printed at home. I did have to mask off this part of the cab because on the real truck there's a different style of back on the real truck that I hadn't seen before. But anyways, ended up masking this off, cutting some tape to match as close as I could the curves on the top of the sleeper or top of the cab, and then added the decal, painted and then added the decal after assembly. So all the decals are clear coated on, so they were applied and then the clear coat was put on over top of the decals. And that way the decals never come off. The lights underneath the door there are peel and stick from Graphics on Demand by Christie. And then used Molotow paint pen here underneath the air breather and right behind the front fender. Molotow chrome pen to add that detail. I regret, for some reason on assembly, the hood, it will open, but it is super tight, and now it actually hits this Texas bumper. So regrettably, the hood does not open anymore, but the front tires still steer if a guy wants to stage it on a layout. I imagine this will end up on a shelf or a desk, so that is the story there. Good old-fashioned, nothing fancy about the visor, it's just a standard stock visor. And that is how this truck was made. I can't tell you what the dimensions of the stretch are because I did it by sight. I was looking at the photos of the real one and then looked at the model, and I think this is actually just a little longer than the real truck, but with the tanks on it, I shortened it up some more, and it looked, I thought, kind of goofy compared to what the photos looked like, so I took a little liberty and stretched it out just a little bit to where it looked a bit more natural, like the real truck. So that is the Riffel Farms How It's Made video on this particular rig. Hope you enjoy.